How you guys doing? Really excited to have one of my not childhood, I guess we're about the same age, but I looked up to you as an idol in sports at LSU. So Lolo Jones is here with us today. So
hey everyone.
I think probably one of our biggest name guests on the show, so I really appreciate you.
No.
Yeah, you're a superstar. Dancing with the Stars. I mean, you were in the ice tub with Kevin Hart. I was cracking up at that.
Okay, well, first off, I got kicked off of Dancing with the Stars the first episode.
How? Why? I don't get it.
To this day, I don't know how an 80-year-old beat me out, but I got dusted on that show.
Haters.
It's funny, they just invited me back for the reunion. I was like, you guys, I kicked out first round. She's like, well, you're always part of the family. I'm like, yeah, but I'm like the long lost cousin, you know?
the distant cousin.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize you got the boot that quick.
Very quickly. A lot of people would say it's because I'm competitive, and so when I will take credit for I messed up some of the steps, but I had Keo. He was a new coach. It was his first season, first episode, and he was very confident. He's like, I'm going to be the first person to win their first season. And Derek had, tried to, kind of ease her into it. She's an Olympian, but she's not a dancer.
Of course, two different worlds.
But he was just he gave me a really aggressive first dance. So most of the first dances, the partners don't leave their side. They kind of hold their hand the whole time. And I had multiple ways where I had to get away from him, spin. And so that he kind of set me up for failure without blaming him, but he also had confidence that I could do it as an Olympian. But yeah, I'm not a dancer.
My wife jokes, she's like, how are you half Latin and Italian and you can't dance? So
yeah, it's in my genes too. So we're in the same boat.
Yeah, right. So you've had an amazing career. You've reinvented yourself from track to bobsledding, Dancing with the Stars, all the different things you've done. What was to you the most challenging, and then what was the most fun?
The challenging is the fun. Because when it's easy, it was, sometimes you take it for granted. So I remember winning my first world championship, and that was hard because I was going against the world record holder, fastest in history ever. So then when I beat her, very challenging but very rewarding. And then when I won my second world championship, they were like, no one's ever defended their world title before. There's never been a back-to-back gold hurdler indoors. So again, challenge. And I wasn't number one anymore. I had messed up a few times that season. I think I had entered the final, the last person to make the final. So when I won, again, one of the most challenging things, but rewarding, and I ended up breaking the world championship record, breaking the American record, which means you became the fastest American in history to ever go over the hurdles. So I think you have to just, I always try to relate my athletic experiences to life, because I think a lot of correlations, but in life we always think the things that would make us the happiest are the easiest, but sometimes it's the hardest, raising a family, or just really working hard for that job promotion that has evaded you for a while. So I take a lot of joy out of overcoming things, and hence why I'm probably a hurdler.
No doubt. My wife, you just met, so when I met her, I remember I saw her at this party from across the way, and she was in some shorts, and I saw these legs, and I was just like, wow, who is that? And then after we met, she was a 100-meter hurdles champion.
Oh.
And, so we would talk sports, and, it's tough when your wife's the better athlete in the house. So I don't like to admit it, but, she was a better athlete. So, every time our kids do something, we always joke. It's like, oh, that's that Brian DNA. She'll claim it. And I'm like, no, he's an avid. And so we compete and we joke around a little bit.
There's new studies that are out. I don't want to take your wife's side, but there's new studies that are out that says the athletic gene comes from the female side, not the male side. I don't shoot the messenger.
No,
that's a new study out. I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but it's a lot of, I guess women are bragging about that right now.
Oh yeah, no, she'll be watching. She watches all my podcasts, so she'll get a real kick out of that, because that's a common little fun thing. We're all obviously.
I think it's a great thing for people to fight about.
Oh, we're all competitive. Everyone in the house is an athlete in some sport or another. We all played some sport. We all won a state title in something. You know, so we never made it to the world level.
Yeah.
You know, but all of us were state champions in something or another. So we have fun.
I don't care if it's a state title, college title, Olympic title, because I have all of them.
Right.
I think a title is a title, and they all deserve their own respect and merit. Because I was fighting for my life in high school. I mean, I won some and I lost some. So it doesn't matter. Like, you know, there was this girl and she beat me every junior Olympics. Like, she was outstanding. She never made it for the Olympics, but she dusted me.
She was legit.
So every stage has its own battles. And just because, you know, someone may have made it to the top, you can't take away from, you know, someone who was just dominant in college or fierce in high school, you know? Absolutely.
So let's talk about that. Like, looking back at your career when you were in high school, you know, now we're in our 40s, you know, is there any advice you would give your high school, college self, or, you know, young athletes out there, you know, maybe something you wish you had known back then?
So I get this question a lot, and I always, I don't know if people are gonna like it, but I would say I wouldn't tell them anything. I wouldn't tell myself anything, because the not knowing is what kept me on edge, you know? Like, it was always this fear in my back of my mind, like, well, what if I'm not good enough? Or what if so like, my first original goal wasn't to be an Olympic athlete. It was just to get a college scholarship, because my family was quite poor.
Yeah.
And so I knew I was good enough to have a scholarship, but I didn't know where, and I didn't know if I could keep it. And then a lot of people don't know this. Well, in the South, we know that LSU is pretty fierce in track and field. It's like the Duke basketball.
Right.
I mean, it's like LSU baseball.
You hear so much about football, but the track and field is better than our football team.
Yeah,
really.
we have like, I think we won 13 NCAA titles in a row at one point. When I was here, we won 3 out of the 4 years I was here. The only year we didn't win was when I was a freshman.
Yeah.
So like, we're dominant usually in track and field. So I remember like, because I had excellent grades in high school, so I had Ivy Leagues reaching out to me. I had, you know, really good academic schools, but I had to decide in that moment if I wanted to pursue, like, try to be good, you know, for Olympics, or like, you know, everybody was like, why would you pick LSU? But they didn't know, like, LSU.
It's a better track and field program.
It's not even track and field. Like, the support you get here, I think last Olympics for the summer, I want to say it was 23 Olympic, I don't know how many Olympic athletes we had, or how many Olympic medalists we had, but if LSU was a country, now I might be slightly off, but I've
heard that.
If LSU was a country, we would have got third on the medal count for
behind like China,
for like Olympic medals. So it's like, okay, yes, I want a degree, but like, if you want to be an Olympic athlete, like especially for track and field, this is one of the top places. This is like the Harvard education for, you know, being an Olympian. So yeah, it was always not knowing that put me on the edge. And even when I got here, the coach recruited 3 of the top high schooler hurdlers in the country. So one of us was going to lose our scholarship at the end of the year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so just like keeping me on edge. And like, had I told my younger self, like, not only you're going to go to the best track and field university, you're going to get an economics degree, you're going to be a 3-time Olympian, you're going to be a 4-time world champion.
You might have toasted, you might have laughed.
Would I have had that intensity in every practice? When I was wanting to not take an extra rep, would I have taken that extra rep? Because I was fighting every stage of my career. I was fighting for the next level.
Yeah.
So like, even when I got my first NCAA title, I thought, okay, great, this puts me on a great pathway to be an Olympian. I went to my first Olympic trials and I bombed out completely. I was the first person to not even make the finals. So I thought that my Olympic chances were over. So sometimes you need the unknown to keep you on edge, but it's terrifying. Like, no, I would much rather give my younger self like, here's the road to play, you know, here's the book. But, you know, the only thing I'd probably say is just don't hit the 9th hurdle at your first Olympics that cost you an Olympic gold medal.
I watched that race this week.
Yeah.
I forgot until I rewatched it getting ready for this podcast. You were burning.
Yeah, I was on pace to break the Olympic record.
And you had just took the lead and were accelerating away from the pack at that moment. Like, I watched it, and I like it was live again, because it was, I think, seeing that. how, like, because one thing I talk is like adversity, and overcoming adversity, and you know, I look back at, I had a tragic motorcycle accident. I almost lost my leg and couldn't walk for almost about a year.
Dang.
Surgery and recovery, multiple, you know, nerve damage, the whole nine. So I had to really, you know, train, and at the time, it was the worst thing in my life, and I would wish all the time it had never happened. And then as I got older, it changed my life. It reshaped my work ethic, my toughness, my mental toughness. And then when I look back, it actually was one of the better things that happened to me. Now, I don't think missing out on a gold medal, but do you see like a positive that came from it?
There's a lot of parallels in that. So when I originally crossed the line, so when I hit the hurdle, I knew I had just lost the Olympic gold medal, but I didn't know how. Like I thought I could still squeak out some kind of medal. So one more hurdle, I got over across the line, and I look up and I'm like, see my name all the way 7th, which I still beat someone, but it's, you know, I realized, and I just crumbled to the track right after the finish line, and I was just pounding the track, you know, cussing, even though I'm a Christian. I was like, ah, you know.
It happens to the best of us.
And I just heard like God whisper to me, but you're here, you know, you're on the Olympic track. And 4 years ago, you were sitting at home crying.
You didn't even make it.
Because you didn't make it. So like, that showed me to be grateful for promotions, you know, grateful even if it's not the ultimate goal, well, how have we progressed? And to take it even further, had I not, you know, had I got that medal, I might have been retired. I probably would have retired probably after that.
Right.
Because I did not get that medal, so then I tried again 4 years later. And 4 years later, I actually had to have spine surgery the year before the games and relearn how to walk. So had I not remembered the taste of losing an Olympic gold medal by this much, like I said, I killed myself in rehab. I killed myself to get back.
Right.
While other runners just had to get back to being fast, I had to start from learning to walk to
So were you on the bar, like the parallel bar, like the little?
But not that long though. So it
Yeah.
was an expedited process, and they knew I had a tight timeline. But I remember one of my first goals back from spine surgery, after like the bed rest and stuff, was I said I'm gonna try to walk down my driveway and walk back. And I walked down my driveway and almost passed out. That's how hard it was.
Yeah.
Like I almost had to call my sister to like bring me back in the house. So from ground zero, and then I went to the Olympic trials, and I was the last one to qualify for the Olympic trials. So I think they take about 22 athletes.
Yeah.
They only take 3 for the Olympic team. So I remember the commentators were like, there's no way Lolo Jones is going to make this team, even though she was the #1 hurdler 4 years ago.
She's done. She just had back surgery.
Yeah, she's not making this team. The first round, I get 3rd. So take in mind, you have to get last in the 3rd round, not the first round. So if you're 3rd in the first round, you're already hanging on by dear life. The second round, I got 2nd. And then the last round in the final, I got 3rd. And that meant I was the last person to qualify for the Olympic team. So I was like, this is huge after having spine surgery. But again, had I not lost in Beijing, that intensity would not have been there for 4 years to just grind it out. And every time I hit something, I was like, no, you were this close away from a gold medal. So let's take it further. I go to the London Olympics, and then I'm the first hurdler. So I'm, again, going through the rounds. It wasn't as sharp as Beijing. I wasn't the dominant hurdler, but I'm still a top contender. And we know with hurdles anything can happen, you know, because it happened to me. I hit a hurdle and I didn't get a medal. So I make it to the finals, and I'm the last one to make it to the finals. I was in lane 1, so like it's on the inside lane, and all the runners are to your right. So in hurdles, you need to it's sometimes good to be out of the peripheral people because they can't see you, but you can't see them. So if someone gets out on you, you can't like go with their pace. So that's why in track it's like an angle. They put all the fastest runners in the middle. It's like an angle, so you can see, like you can feel the fastest runner. That's why you're saying, or if you're good, you'll have lanes 3, 4, 5, or 6. You know. So lane 1 is like ugh, but which meant I should have got last. Pretty much. If you're in lane 1 or lane 8, you're supposed to get last in that track race. And in the final,
You took fourth.
I took 4th. And not only did I take 4th, it was the fastest Olympic race in history to that day. So that meant that I would have been an Olympic medalist at any Olympics but that one.
Right.
So I'm like, bad luck too. Like, get out of here. Like, first I hit a hurdle, and then now I'm in the fastest Olympic race in the history, which means I could have been a 2-time Olympic medalist. Again, that setback fueled me to go try bobsled. So like, again, these things don't happen without failures. Like, failures, how can you use them? How can you like help them to remotivate you? I always tell people failures are your biggest motivators in life if you let them be.
Right.
If not, they can just crush you.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is like, I think it was Denzel, and I've heard Will Smith, it was fall forward or fail forward.
Yeah.
Because like some people fail and it's a shutdown.
Yeah.
But they always said fail forward, and I like the way they said it, because that thought, like you said, that could destroy most athletes after that type of letdown. That hang it up. They hang up the spikes.
Yeah, I came back to Baton Rouge because I live here, and I just sat on the couch and was like, I've done everything. I have literally done everything to get this Olympic gold medal, and I'm coming up short.
Yeah.
And that's when like, 2 things. Well, one, a lot of people our age have definitely seen the movie Cool Runnings.
I was gonna ask, is that like, I was gonna joke and ask, is that where you got the idea?
Sat on the couch and you're watching TV, you gotta remember Cool Runnings.
Cool Runnings was great.
It's a classic.
We got a bobsled team.
Yeah, great movie. But also there's LSU, like I was talking about, we have a great track and field reputation. Well, we had this guy, he competed for Team Canada, but he ran at LSU. He was a summer Olympian. Well, he went on to compete for the Winter Olympics for Team Canada. And then he would come back. He had retired, and he would come back. He was a head coach for Team Canada for a very long time. He'd come back every year. So every year as a pro athlete, when I was training at LSU, I'd see him bring Canada back. And they were like, that's the guy that did like Summer and Winter Olympics. So I always had it kind of in the back of my mind just for my roots at LSU.
Right.
And so when I sit on my couch and I was like, you know what? I know I still want to be an athlete, but my heart's been broken twice now in track and field. So I was just like, let me just see a new sport. And that's when I went out to try bobsled.
So anyone that knows me knows I'm an adrenaline junkie. And even after the motorcycle crash, like, I don't do motorcycles much anymore, but I'll race cars, go-karts, anything can go fast. I've raced it, except 2 things. I want to do one of the, like, not the Formula 1 cars, because you can't do those, but the Formula 4 cars.
Okay.
Then I want to do a bobsled ride.
Well, a lot of people don't know this, but you can actually do bobsled rides.
I want to do it. I got to get with you on that.
Outside Magazine, which is like an outdoor, it's like for all kinds of outdoor activities, it lists going down a bobsled track as a bucket list thing to do. Remember the bucket list movie?
Oh, yeah.
100 things to do before you die? And it had, I forget where it ranked bobsled, but bobsled was one of those. And you can actually take passenger rides in either Lake Placid or Park City, Utah.
Okay.
But I recommend people go to Park City, Utah. One, because they're both gorgeous, but Utah is an easier track. And an easier track is still going to be very vital for a non-bobsled athlete. So, like, I've seen people take passenger rides, and then, like, we call the ambulance for them. But yeah, it's thrilling to do. Bobsled can go about 80 to 90 miles an hour. There's different curves, and they got, like, the F-way, like horseshoe, around the bend, all kinds of different titles. And it's just terrifying because, like, when I first arrived at the Olympic Training Center, they were like, because you go there and you do all, like, the sprint testing, the power testing. So these are all my elements. I'm a summer Olympian. So they're just kind of building you up to, like, oh, this should be fine.
Now you got to go ride in the bobsled.
Yeah, but they're just really waiting for the temperature to drop so that they can get you on a real track. So once the temperature starts dropping and that track is ready, then they take you out. You your first warning should be like you're putting a burn vest on, which a burn vest is to protect you if it crashes and
you're sliding on the ice
and your skin melts on ice. So that should be your first warning that this is you're no longer in track and field. You have to wear a mouth guard, a helmet. So, and they go, it's okay if you don't want to go back to the Olympic Training Center and get your stuff, like pack your bags. We've seen people go straight to the airport once they go down the track. I'm like, it can't be like that.
Had you done the Red Bull stuff by this point? Or?
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. I was a Red Bull athlete. They had taken me up to airplanes, flipped me upside down. Like you said.
You've done some adrenaline junkie stuff.
Adrenaline junkie. Like I've been in F1 cars. They've tried to spin me, loop me, all that, And so they, the top of the bobsled track. And hurdlers too, you gotta remember hurdlers a lot of us don't have a lot of fear because we have to run full speed at something. And I've seen some gnarly,
bust your face.
Yeah, I've seen some people tear ACLs, hit hurdles, careers over, never hurdle again. So hurdlers are usually one of your toughest,
I'm married to one, they're pretty tough.
Yeah, pretty tough, and so they say, look, we're going to help you out before you go down this track. The easiest way to get down this is to just count the curves, If you can count the curves, that will help you know where you're at. So there's 22 curves, just count them, you'll be fine. So I'm like, okay, so I've got the helmet on, I got my burn vest padded up, and I push the bobsled off, jump in, feels pretty natural. We're going down the first few curves. It's like I'm counting like 1, 2. Feels like a nice it feels pretty good, And we start hitting like 4, and it's like a big hit, you feel like a car has hit a wall, and your body's taking all of that pressure, and we still got to go all the way down the track. It got to the point where, I was no longer counting a curve. I couldn't. I had no awareness where I was at, and I just started praying. I was like, Lord, please just help me get down this track as safely as possible. And we get down the track, and I got tears streaming down my face, like tears from how, I literally was like, this is so intense.
Right.
And I told the driver, I was like, I'm so glad we didn't crash. Thank you for not crashing it. Well, we were so close. And she's like, what are you talking about? That was the smoothest ride I've had my whole career. So that's bobsled for you.
Intense. So how many passes in a normal practice would you do getting ready? When you're doing that on actual runs, when you start getting into intense training?
Usually 2 to 3, because you can't do
it
so hard on your body.
Yeah.
If it's an easier track, like I was saying, Park City is known to be the easier track.
Right.
But I've seen people's backs getting blown in Park City because there's just one part at the end where your back is just you're crunched into the bobsled, so your face gets all the way down. And Park City is where we're hosting the next home Olympics for Winter Olympics will be in Park City.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it will be so there's a saying, there's really no easy track in bobsled, but we say it just to appease our mind, because the moment people say it's easy, they're like, there's an 81, which 81 means crash on the track.
Oh.
So it's it depends. If we compete in the snow. I competed when it's 10 degrees below, where it's so cold you can't even hold onto the bobsled, your hands are frozen at the bottom. Compete in, rain, slush, I've been on the start line about to race, and then there's a crash, and then we have a 3-minute hold, and then I have to push my driver full speed, knowing that there was a crash just right before us.
So you said you were a brakeman on the...
Brakeman, yeah, or you could say brakewoman, but we say brakeman.
Yeah, so are you in the back of the bobsled?
Yeah.
Is that where the brake is?
Yeah, so they say the engine for the bobsled. So the pilot, we both push the bobsled off. There's no engine, so it's only by our pure speed. The pilot helps push at the beginning, then they jump in because they have to get their steering and stuff ordered, and then I'm still pushing for 2 to 5 steps off of them, then I jump in, and besides, they take most of the work, they drive down the track. We learn, the more experience you get, you learn to lean in certain curves, you can change the dynamic or whatever, but to be honest, you could just be really doing nothing. Try to stay as comfortable as you can, because they say this a lot in car accidents. Like the person that tense up feels it the most,
right.
and the person that like is easy with it. So the drivers can usually feel that, and we're supposed to be the shock absorbers for the sled. So if they hit a wall, which is pretty normal, sometimes they can hit to get a different angle. Like if you're fighting that, it's not gonna be as smooth as this if you just go with it.
Well, I got from racing motorcycles and like taking my wife on. Like if you got someone who's good riding on the back with you, or there's sometimes you got someone on the back and you can feel every little movement.
Yeah, so we try to learn.
It's got to be 10 times more intense on that.
We try to learn the tracks as brakemen. I mean, I know some brakemen that don't, and then some that do. It's a smoother ride when you can know where you're at, and you can feel it. But yeah, we actually pull the brakes for the 2-person bobsled, so it's usually between our legs. So I'd sit like this, and the brakes are right here, so once to the end, I just pull up. Also, it's good to know the track so you can know when to pull the brakes. So like this year, we were competing at World Championships. It was in Lake Placid, which is our home track. And the Germans are just dominant right now. I think that they swept the medals every race we were at, even Worlds. Like 1, 2, 3 Germans, because they have like multi-million-dollar bobsleds right now.
I was going to ask, the sleds, they are not all the same.
No.
Are there certain regulations? Like F1 is obviously super regulated, and people can protest different things. Do you have any of that?
We have 2 different events right now. We have monobob, which is one female drives a bobsled by herself. There is no brakeman. So that is standardized equipment, and they added that just in the last Olympics to help the smaller nations out. Meaning, like Jamaica, Thailand, countries that don't have millions of dollars to put into a bobsled, that is standardized equipment, so they're trying to give an equal playing field for the smaller countries. Now the 2-person bobsled is where the big boys play, and 4-man for the men, because women don't compete in 4-man. So, and men don't compete in monobob. So the 2-person and 4-man is where all the money goes, and right now in Germany it's just dominant. Like they're putting millions of dollars into their program. So the equipment makes a huge advantage, like oddly enough. And Germany's just been on a reign of terror lately. And for example, we're talking about the brakes. We competed, Germany got 1, 2, 3, USA got 4, 5, 6. So we all made podium, top 6 makes the podium for bobsled. So it's good, but it's also bad because they had top 3. But Germany was so good that they pulled the brakes in one of the straightaways that was not the finish line and still got 3rd. Like, that's why 1, you have to know the bobsled track, and 2, it just really helps if you have a really expensive bobsled. Yeah,
right. Obviously, I mean, you see it in any motorsport or anything. I mean, when the equipment matters.
Yes.
And
USA is trying to catch up. Like we started building our own new bobsleds. That's how I got injured this year, because we were testing these new bobsleds, and it injured 3 athletes. I was the last of it, and I was the one that I got a herniated disc bulge, and 3 tears in my back. So we really, as athletes, there's so much that goes into bobsled, unlike track and field. Like in track and field, I'm never asked to go try out the mono track or try out this or that beforehand. But in bobsled, because equipment is such a factor, every little detail we have to try out, and we were like the guinea pigs for
So
that.
what was it that was causing the injuries?
They were working on the inside of the frame, and they also were moving the handles in different positions, which changed the body position of the brakeman sitting in. So it put more pressure on.
When you're in that really crouched over position.
It hurt, I think, 2 athletes' backs, and then it hurt another girl's wrist. And the 2-man is the same, so like the men have 2-man, so they can use our 2-man sled, we can use theirs, but women don't compete in 4-man. We've tried to get it, but it's just not.
Is the 4-man even faster because of the extra weight and the extra push?
Yes, and it's more like, do you want to drive a Ferrari down a track really fast, or do you just want to drive a tank, like a semi-truck? Or no, like a semi-truck. They say it's more like, when I talk to the pilots, it's like, do you want to drive a sports car, or do you want to drive a school bus trucking it?
That's insane.
Like, they don't even say four-person car. They say it's like it's like a truck. So, and there's, every pilot has their preference.
Yeah.
Some of them are really good at the 4-person,
Right.
and terrible at the Ferrari, and then some are really good on 2-person and just don't know how to, manhandle that, big boy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's gotta be. Well, like you said, it was more intense than the F1 car, the Red Bull stunt plane. So.
Yeah, no, and I've been the stunt plane. I've been in the F1, and so I forget the G-forces. I think it's about 4 or 5 G-forces for a bobsled, so it's up there. It's trucking. So yeah.
Out of the so last season you did the bob. How'd y'all end up placing in the bobsled races?
So like I said, Germany got 1, 2, 3. USA got 4, 5, 6,
Okay.
which is all on the podium. So
Yeah.
top 6 make the podium.
Okay.
That was my, I think, 6th world championship I competed in.
Yeah.
I've won 2 for track, and I've won 2 for bobsled. So I won 2 indoor ones, and then I won a team title with Alana, and then I won a 2-woman with Kaylee Humphreys.
And when you ran track, you were in your 20s.
Yes. Well, no, I ran track 2 years ago.
What?
So
For
I
the World
wrote-
Championships.
Yeah. So I was the first person in their 40s to qualify for the Olympic trials.
Oh wow.
In a sprint event. It hadn't, like, for the sprint hurdles on the women's side.
Yeah.
So that was huge. Like, I remember, because I got injured right before, and I was like, I don't think I can run. I had like a grade 2 tear hamstring. And my agent and my coach were like, you kind of have to do it because it's never been done before. So they were like, we don't, just get to the finish line. So
Yeah.
it sucks because I ran slower at the Olympic trials than my high school time because I was injured. But it was huge though, because that whole season I was doing, pretty good.
Right.
But it was inspiring for a lot of people to see because we get such a bad reputation of, especially women being done at an older age. And then I had younger athletes coming up to me and saying, I thought my career would be over at 27.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see what you've done. I mean, I won my last world championships at like 38. So
How did you? Let's talk about that, because your training regimen, diet. How do you attribute that longevity? Because you were in one of the most impactful. Like my wife's knees and her lower back are shot, and she struggles a lot with her knees now. Hurdles, like how have you managed to? Obviously, you've had
well, what are
some
you doing
setbacks.
for your wife's knees?
We do now. Unfortunately, she had the issues before we had even met. 10 years ago, I would tell her about the peptides and regenerative stuff. And it's funny, now that we've opened our new clinic and she's listening to these new progressive doctors that are saying the same thing I said 10 years ago. TB 500 and BPC 157 and all these things so we're now doing that, and it's helping her a lot.
I wish.
But y'all can't do that as Olympians, so I know that.
So it's so funny. So many Olympians say the moment I retire, they're like the moment I retire, all that stuff your wife is doing,
right.
Because
and we did the exosome, amniotic exosome injections,
and that's
both
new.
Shoulders and knees.
Yeah, exosomes is new for a lot of athletes, and we're kind of in the gray zone right now of what is approved and what's not approved.
Yeah.
So that one for sure is still doable depending on how it's administered. So because it's so new, USADA is still working on the parameters for athletes. So athletes are very encouraged by exosomes. The peptides, we're not allowed to even touch that.
Of course.
I think BPC used to be legal, and then they put it on the banned list.
It was too effective.
Man, I tell you, but
And it can't be regulated by big pharma, so.
I'm telling you, most of the athletes I talk to, so I've had 4 surgeries now.
Yeah.
I know a girl who has had 7 surgeries. There's not an Olympian I know that doesn't have some kind of wear and tear, advanced something on them compared to someone their age. We've been crashing in bobsleds, we've been hit on hurdles, we've had high impact sports, and a lot of them talk about as soon as they retire and they're not under the parameters of USADA, those are the things that we would probably look into to help get rid of the knee pain, the necks, the backs, or whatever, because we're allowed to take stuff like Advil. We're allowed to take these high inflammatory things, which also cause
And they're terrible for you.
They cause
NSAIDs are
ulcers.
toxic.
They're so horrible on your gut system, and
Yep.
yeah. So trust me, we'll probably be having a conversation later when I retire.
When you're officially retired, come see us.
If I was a normal person like your wife, those are things I would highly recommend or look into because they're so advanced. But we're just not allowed to touch it. But the exosomes, it's just a parameter. It's such a new field, so we have to get things approved by USADA. So yeah, there's so many things that like a non-Olympian can do to help their health. That's not surgery. That would actually prevent surgery, and that's healthier than Advil. Like that's what people. That's their go-to. But yeah, so and they're like, well, those treatments are, they feel like they're too costly or they're not knowledgeable on them.
Right.
And so it's just like, I just tell people like, my mom, she's about to go through knee replacement, and had I just like, these things are so new, I would have put my mom on some of these treatments.
Yeah, 10 years ago, she might not need a knee replacement.
And she might have not needed a knee replacement. And this knee replacement is one of the hardest things an older person can go through. Like the rehab's gruesome, so it's just like, I encourage everybody to just, do their research and see what they can do.
Absolutely. So what is your normal diet, workout routine to stay that explosive into your 30s and 40s? Because that, without being able to do the things that a normal person can do, you've got to be able to do them and pass all of USADA testing.
Exactly. What I said, some exosomes are allowed depending on the TUE, depending on the process, depending on if it's like, you have to look at all the fine print. We've been allowed PRP, but most of it was done through what I eat diet, supplements, recovery is huge. I'm trying to think what else. I'm probably like the recovery queen. I've done hyperbaric chambers, red light sessions.
Right.
What else? Big on massages, chiros. So recoveries, even things that you don't have to pay for, 10 minutes of stretching at night is huge, and a lot of people don't even do that. That's the first step I would do.
Yeah. Do you have your own hyperbaric chamber at home?
Oddly, I do.
No, for someone at your level, we're about to get one here, we've talked about.
Oh, you are?
Oh yeah, for patients and everything. Because my brother-in-law is a chiropractor here in town. He's been on the show before.
Not many people in Baton Rouge have access to. I don't know many places that have
They were wholesale. We've got we're actually working with one of the guys who's been on here, Recoup. They do a custom hyperbaric with PEMF and red light and everything.
I've seen those. Okay, I have to do all of mine separate.
Yes.
That's really,
Yeah, so we're putting it all into one because having all that in there for recovery, I think is just phenomenal.
Well, hyperbaric is not just recovery; it's also anti-aging. Gets rid of inflammation. It also can calm your CNS down. So if you're really stressed out, because of the oxygen in your brain, it can help you if you're mentally stuck. It helps with concussions, which is huge in bobsled. I had this really bad concussion from a crash, and I went to this really expensive concussion place in Atlanta, stayed there for 4 days, did all the treatments, had no progress.
Yeah.
Did 3 treatments in my hyperbaric session, and it was gone. So, there's so many modalities, not just athletes can do, but you said, just the normal person, I know celebrities that use hyperbaric just for anti-aging.
Oh yeah.
They're not even using it for
all the other benefits.
Yeah, they're just they just want to stay looking young.
Well, and I think I talked about it last week with Dr. Etheridge when, you just mentioned concussions. Our lab in Waco with Frontier Biologics, they're talking with some sports teams and IV exosomes or nebulized right there in the tent on the field.
What? No, that's the first time I heard of that.
It's still being read, but they're seeing, obviously it's helping with concussions, and they're looking into that further because right there on the sideline, a football player or right on the side of the bobsled, you know, you can come in off a crash and you know, you take a nasal inhaler or nebulizer and get that exosome directly.
And all sports are different. Like NFL's allowed different things, and Olympic sports, UFC's allowed. It's really sport dependent. But so what would be the benefit of someone that's not an athlete just doing the exosomes or doing the IV or doing the nebulizer? What would be a benefit for them?
For them, I mean, it's my simplified explanation of that is it's rewiring your internal system to function the way it was meant to. So those are day one infant, like pluripotent cells that they are able to form different tissues, but they also are blank, like kind of like a blank disc. So the way Gene would explain it, for simplified for people like me, is it's giving your body the system reprogrammed to reboot and work the way it was made to when we were kids, when we would heal quickly. So, you know, that's why it has those healing cascades. And then, of course, it has over 75 different growth factors in it. So when you're taking that high volume IV, it's going systemic through your whole body versus just like if you had a knee or a back or an ankle or an Achilles injury or something where you would inject directly into the area. Same thing with like the BPC. You know, you can take it systemically, so it actually starts to help the whole body with inflammation, with recovery, with healing.
I gotta see when I retire.
and so, yeah, concussions, they're seeing like that inflammation in that brain.
And NFL is able to use it now?
NFL can, yeah. I don't know of any issues with that in NFL or college. So that's why it's being looked
college
into.
Is able to use it?
Right now, there's no restriction on that because it's a naturally occurring, fluid in the human body. So it's not like it's a foreign or a performance enhancer. It's just a healing,
I know Olympic athletes are allowed to do some exosomes. It's just like which ones. That's which one.
Right.
And then it depends on. I know Olympic athletes are not allowed to take IVs unless you're like medically admitted in a hospital or surgery. And then if it's post, like you have to get a TUE for it. So like that's how. An Olympic swimmer, I'm not going to say his name, but he got a 2-year ban because he just went to go get an IV after having a party, and he got a 2-year ban for that. And I just figured out why IVs were banned. Because we had...
I don't understand the logic there.
I didn't either, and so we had an educational meeting with USADA at the last team camp, and athletes were asking the same thing. They were like, why can't we
just need hydration.
Yeah, why can't we get IVs? And they were like, well, because of the whole Lance Armstrong stuff.
Blood doping.
Allegedly. Well, that's what they said in the meeting. They were like, he was using it to flush out his system. That's what they said in the meeting. I don't know, if they were truthful about that. But, so that's why we have to prove every time. Like, I remember one time I had the flu. I was admitted in the hospital. I stayed overnight, and I had to go back and get a TV just for getting an IV for that, for a flu. Yeah, that had me hospitalized.
Yeah, you guys are so rich. I remember Celsius energy drinks. Like, I used to have an energy drink sponsor the show, and that was one of their things, was they had no banned substances in the energy drink, and it only had a certain amount of natural caffeine and things, because even like Celsius and some of the energy drinks, you can't even drink that stuff.
They're always changing, and that's what's like so hard as an Olympian.
Yeah, right.
Every year there's new updates to what is banned and what is not banned, and you have to stay informed. Because
you could, like that guy, make a simple mistake, and then you get that 2-year ban. Sometimes you only have one Olympic game in your career.
Yeah, I remember one time I was at the Olympic Training Center, outside, and there was a whole group of people huddled, and I was like, what are they talking about? And they were like, oh, BPC 157 just got banned. I'm like, what is that? And they were like, you didn't know what it is? It's the best anti-inflammation. And they're like, sucks for you, now it's banned. I'm just like, you guys have been using this the whole time? What? Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, though. The list always changes. Yeah. And I think at one point, I don't know, I think a certain amount of caffeine was banned.
Right.
It can be that crazy, a certain amount of caffeine.
Yeah.
So you have like if I get a common cold, I have to go into the store and there's an app I can use and I have to double check every minute. Like you'll see me literally in the store trying to double check my medicines just to and then there's some things to even get crazier. Some things you're allowed to take off season and you're not allowed to take in season.
Yeah.
So like prednisone, you can take it out of competition, but you cannot take it while anytime you're competing. Adderall, you're allowed to take Adderall out of competition, but not in. It's just like so.
Yeah, that's enough.
But that's why I would encourage you guys. You guys have access to everything. Just do it. You're living the life. I'm over here.
So you've got you're now. I mean, you're 43.
43.
I know you're not supposed to say a woman's age, but it's inspiring.
No, they say it when I compete. This is my last year competing, so just finished up with push championships. Got 6th on the push championships for bobsled. Had the top tied for the fastest 30, top 3 on the counter movement jump. So I had really solid numbers. But again, 43. So at my age, a lot of people try to push you out when you still have the numbers. So kind of what I'm dealing with bobsled right now. So hopefully everything will get sorted out pretty soon. And but I've been giving people hell for 43 years. The fact that I could literally have the same time as someone in their 20s blows my mind.
That's incredible.
Like in the 30, like literally, I'm like, you're 24, I'm 43. And we both just ran 391.
How often do you train, and what does your training regimen look like?
I train every day, like Monday through Saturday for track and field. For bobsled, I get one more extra day off.
Yeah.
Track and field's more focused on running, and bobsled's more on powerlifting and lifting really, really heavy. So, but when I'm done, I'm just gonna do all kinds of weird stuff, and I'll continue to work out even when I retire because. That's the biggest anti-aging hack, I think, is working out.
Well, and I think it's also the best antidepressant there is.
Yes, I agree.
Because I've seen several patients come through here, and one of their things is trying to get off, of course, all the medication, and then they're on antidepressants, they're on a sleeping pill, they're on antidepressants, they're on a waking up pill, they're on Adderall just to wake up. They don't even really need Adderall, but they take it for the energy. And so
it's a vicious cycle.
I see this, it's just this pharma cycle. And I think exercise, like you have a great outlook on everything, and you're always in a positive mood. You've overcome, I think, more adversity than most people could ever. I mean, because a lot of people might not even know, like, you don't, like you said, you didn't come from money.
No.
I've heard you mentioned in one interview you lived in the basement of a church.
Yeah.
Was it a functioning church, or was this like an old?
Salvation Army. So Salvation Army normally has like gyms, and because they try to have a lot of kids camps, and at the bottom of the basement was just like showers, like a locker room area, and so that's where my family lived for a month. And it kind of, like I said, I try to use everything. That kind of prepared me for Olympic Village because, the Olympic Village is not posh.
It's not the Ritz-Carlton?
It is not posh. Like leaky showers.
Okay, I wouldn't have guessed that.
Some of the places, it's like they've just put up temporary housing really quick for the athletes. So, just the rough childhood for sure prepared me for some of the Olympic villages. Some of the Olympic villages I was going to endure.
So the basement, is that where you got your real strong religious roots, or where did that come from? Because I know you're big in your faith. Like we had to move the time today.
Yeah, because I'm going to
4 o'clock to get to church.
I think my mom and dad they kind of used church as a babysitter when I was growing up, and then the Salvation Army had a whole bunch of kids camps, so that's why I would literally, I was just always in church Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. So
And has that been a big source of strength? And like you mentioned, like hearing God when you clip that hurdle, I
definitely think my faith has really helped me in really hard times. Like right now, I'm going through a massive season. Like my last year of competing, having I had a herniated disc, multiple back injuries to come back from, which I got injured in with USA Bobsled. Having to deal with the perceptions of old age and being an athlete. Those things kind of wear and tear on you. And like that's why I'm on social media break right now, because, you know, I'll get on there and I'll have people try to rip me down, and it's just, I just, you know, when you're trying to break history and when you're trying to do something that's never been done. Yeah, and it's crazy how it's so accepted on like the male side. Like Tom Brady, you know, competing till he's 45 is nothing, but a female in her, like, I really started getting backlash when I was 35 competing.
And I may offend some people, I don't really care. And you can stay silent so that way you don't catch any backlash if I do. But like, it's kind of disturbing to me. Like I see, like, you caught a lot of shit over fertility in your 40s.
Yeah.
And, you know, not being married and being a virgin at 40.
Yeah.
Like,
they hated it.
Oh my God.
Hated
Did you
it.
get royalties from the 40-Year-Old Virgin movie? Did you get
No, I
royalties
think,
for that?
no, but I once sat behind the director and I said, you maybe might want to do a sequel.
Yeah, right?
But I thought that was a good movie though, because
That's a hilarious movie.
great movie, but like, I just don't get why they always have virgins as awkward and
Well, because
nerdy, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I've walked red carpets, like,
Right, like-
I think I'm actually not nerdy. I'm okay. You know,
yeah, it's
I
a lot
have
harder
some-
when people are throwing themselves
But
at
that's-
you,
that's
like
the
to
stigma.
have that discipline.
That's just the stigma, you know? There's a stigma about being, you know, a Christian, a virgin. There's a stigma about being an older athlete, you know?
And it
So-
shows to me, and this is where I might upset some people or whatever, but it shows how morally bankrupt and just backwards and fucked up our country is. Because
we're trying to get back.
you know, like,
trying,
yeah,
right?
we're trying, like, but if you drop a sex tape, you're one of the most influential women in America.
That is true.
You know,
OnlyFans. Content creators make way more than Olympic
Oh yeah,
athletes.
I mean, they got a reality show, and the family got famous from getting a murderer out of you know, defending a murderer and dropping sex tapes. And I'm like, and they're one of the most wealthy families in America. And then people come down on you for competing in the Olympics at an older age.
Yeah.
Being a devout Christian.
Oh, no, they hate it.
And being a virgin.
That does blow my mind.
Shows
And,
you just how backwards and warped we've become.
I didn't get it. Like when I was 35 and I started getting the pressure to, like, people were really angry I didn't retire. They're like, why don't you just quit? Why don't you just give up?
Because
like,
they quit. That's why, you know what I realized right when you said that? Because those people quit on their life and their dreams. And it helps them feel better about the fact that they never did shit to begin with.
Yeah.
They certainly never made it to
I'll even have athletes hate on me. I have athletes that now have become coaches.
Yeah.
Or like my head coach for bobsled was my teammate, where I'm older than him.
Yeah.
And like he has admitted to ageism, like having a preference for younger athletes, which is very frustrating as someone who's trying to break history. Also, we have 2 pilots that are in their 40s. So it's like, you know, I'm not the only one that is trying to break history. And I think the more the technology advances, like...
Yeah, 40 is not 40 like it used to be.
Not anymore. Especially like you being said here in your place, how much more advanced you guys' treatments have gotten.
Yeah.
So like my first Olympics, I didn't even have acupuncture, dry needling, and we were in China, you know? Now that's like one of the most basic standard things an athlete can get, you know? I think I had access to hot and cold, like that was it. Now, I have a hyperbare chamber in my house. I have a red light, huge bag that I can get in and out of. Like those things didn't exist. So like, take advantage of like the science people. Like I said, I wish my mom, like 10 years ago, I wish I could have prevented her from getting this knee surgery just by some of these treatments that you talked about, you know?
I'm about to put a whole thing together for Mom. She's got plantar fasciitis, her hip, her back, and she doesn't. Of course, we're like opposites. She doesn't follow a diet. She doesn't exercise. I'm like, all right, I got to do this, got to do this. But at least I can get her feeling better, healing and stuff. So you mentioned acupuncture. If you need, I have the best, and he's Chinese acupuncturist, studied in China. He's practiced for 30 plus years. He's right here in Baton Rouge. And he is...
I might have seen him. What's his name?
Dr. Shou Hua.
Oh, no, that's him.
Natural, at Natural Healing Therapies, I think it is. He is brilliant, amazing.
But yeah, my advice is, especially for recovery, rehab, just you gotta try things and you gotta figure out what works. Especially if I was not an athlete, there would be a whole other tool set I could use. But right now I have to use what is allotted to me. But I've noticed just like the advancements in technology is just huge. And I can't believe you guys are gonna get the hyperbaric with the red light. Some of the stuff you guys are like the exosomes you guys are able to do on your clients. Just some of these are really saving people from costly surgeries, like really costly surgeries. So I think it's really cool.
Well, and then I'm 45 now, and my energy and my focus and of course stress, I would be tired a lot. And in the last month, I started, Jennifer and I, I'm my own guinea pig. Like I won't ever put someone on something I wouldn't take, or I won't endorse anything. I'll never put a product on my show that is not something I would actually use or have used. Just same thing. So I'm doing the peptides, and in my first month, I can tell a noticeable.
I can't sit here with this conversation. Don't tell me I can't take any of this. I'm literally I can't take any of this.
Maybe when you
retire again.
When you retire at 50, because you're like dang, what was it? It's like telling a kid, it's like, I have this beautiful piece of chocolate cake, but you can't have any of it. You're on no sugar.
You can't have any of this. Now, I told you earlier, all the athletes are the moment I retire, because they know there's things that can repair them that we're not allowed to take. I mean, even Joe Rogan, his podcast talked about it.
He talks about going to get stem cells in Tijuana multiple times a year. The irony is you don't even need to go out of the country anymore with the exosome injection. Same thing.
So exosomes, like I said, some are allowed, some are not. But the biggest misconception was that you would have to go travel far away.
Right. Used to.
So now it's it's in your backyard or whatever. So athletes can take advantage of what they can, and then civilians literally have the whole gamut. You have the whole gamut to work with. But I'll be retired in February, so we can rehab this conversation.
We'll go celebrate.
Because I don't know anything about it, so definitely you're gonna have to inform me, break it down, tell me.
Everything.
Because I don't know any of that. I can't. I'm on my basic.
We'll sit down.
Basic creatine, glutamine, BCAA.
Well, at least you can still take creatine and glutamine. At least those are still allowed.
I know. Now you'll be so.
Check the list.
I'm gonna be leaving. I'm just have my head down,
Make sure they didn't put those on the banned list. Creatine.
February, just put my appointment because I got a knee, to knock out. But
So February, the official retirement. You're gonna lace up the cleats, worn one last time, the spikes.
I've been preparing for retirement for a while. So I've been doing TV shows. So anytime I was injured, had an off season, I would either work NBC Olympics or ESPN stuff or just reality TV show competitions. So I really am looking forward to not having to spend 6 to 8 hours a day working out because I'm just exhausted. And it's in comparison to an old dog, new a puppy has all that energy. And I'm just I can give you one good bite, but then I'm tired, So I'm looking forward to having a more chill lifestyle.
Where do you see? What do you want to do when you retire? What's that first year? What are some things that you would like to do that you've not done because you've always been training in the Olympics?
It's funny because we travel so much, I probably would not like to travel. So I don't know the last time I even went to an LSU game. So I'd like to go to an LSU game. That'd be nice. Maybe gardening, more chill stuff. I would like to, focus on repairing my body because it's just been through the gamut of stuff. So it will be really nice to just actually focus on repair. Trust me, I'm functional, I'm fast, but it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt, It doesn't mean that there's some days where I wake up with back pain, or there's some days where, I'm oh my gosh, my knee's starting to bother me. So, I would like to, start working on stuff like that, and then, just enjoy life,
So you've been moving full speed, so you want to slow down for a little bit and just kind
I'll
of
slow down for a
soak
little
some
bit.
things in.
I think for at least a year, but
Right.
then I'll probably, start, having hobbies or, hit the ground running.
Yeah.
I'll probably work on documentaries, just helping athletes to
Right.
get sponsorships
Yeah.
and resources, because right now the biggest thing I've seen at the end of my career is just how bad Olympic athletes are treated health-wise. So I would really like to help Olympic athletes
Yeah.
or Olympic hopefuls, because over my career, like people don't know this, if you don't make an Olympic team, you lose your health insurance like that. And I was the #1 brakeman this year, and they still didn't give me health insurance. So
That's insane.
I want to help the resources for Olympic athletes. It's not all Olympians make Michael Phelps or Usain Bolt money.
Yeah.
Like I've seen Olympians that are homeless, working as Uber drivers, working part-time jobs.
Right.
So just be able to give them resources. I've always been kind of protected by the LSU community and like the Baton Rouge community, like, physicians, doctors helping me out. So it's been really beneficial to help my career out when
Yeah.
I've, haven't been taken care of by, the Olympics. So that's why I like being in the South, the Southern hospitality.
Right.
So yeah, it's just, I want to help other athletes.
I think that's great. It's the philanthropist outlook, and most people wouldn't know that, because until you mentioned that, I would have thought that you guys were treated like royalty and they had the best doctors on site, the best care, because you want the best athletes performing at their best. And if they have a setback, an injury, or or maybe not injured, but they're hurt, you need to get them well, you need to get them back on the track again. So it's interesting to bring light to that, and like you said, hopefully improve that for future athletes. And then a lot of you guys before NIL money were way underpaid. Like how?
Yeah, I did not.
Could you imagine if you had NIL money back when you were running?
Oh man, because I know Liddy Dunn, and we were talking about this. I was talking about this with my agent. I was like, how much do you think I would have made?
Liddy Dunn money? I mean,
he said bare minimum $1 million. A bare minimum $1 million in college, like
a year.
Bare minimum.
I think you'd have been making a couple million a year between all the
uh-huh.
endorsements and with your personality and looks and your skills. Like it'd have been.
Thank you, but it just came too late. Now you can make money. An athlete can make more money in college and retire, and they're better off than going to the Olympics.
Oh,
like
true.
There's Olympians I know that are struggling.
Some of my buddies I used to train MMA with were UFC contract fighters back in the early 2000 era, and these guys had UFC contracts and worked regular 9-to-5 jobs here in town, and would go get beat to shit on pay-per-view events, but they were making 5-figure.
Got it, yeah.
5-figure paydays, and to go fight in UFC, like they were way underpaid.
So, welcome to my life.
Well, welcome. Thank you for coming on the show.
This is awesome. I'm very informative. Definitely going to be back when I retire. You're going to have to give me the rundown of all the other extra stuff that you do. But this is I hope we've been motivated people today to just push past boundaries, especially at older ages, whatever stigmas there is, and
there's nothing. Age is only a number, and you're proof of that. I mean, because
I'm proof of that, and you're helping people get better past age too. We're working different angles. I'm on the motivation inside. You're actually helping them.
We'll do it together. Thanks again. I appreciate
you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for tuning in. Lolo Jones, a true inspiration, guys. So thank y'all. Y'all have a great rest of your day.